Now, let me ask you a question. How many unarmed black people, on average, are killed by police a year?
Well, I'd have to look up that statistic.
Guess.
Probably over 50%.
Yeah, it's 15 people a year. 15. And that's not my number. That's the Washington Post that came up with it and did a national crime survey. And they even were generous, and they said unarmed, meaning you had a weapon nearby or you had a knife that you dropped. So you're talking about police brutality for an incident that happens 15 times a year in a country of 350 million people.
Well, how come, my question to you then, how come you see it so often on
You don't.
social
Because
media?
that's a good question, Andrew, because you're being propagandized. You're being brainwashed is the name of this tour.
What's up YouTube? Hope you guys are feeling good. Today guys, we're back with a new video. Today we're going to check out Charlie Kirk, the malicious laborer with nose ring. Okay, I couldn't Charlie kick because of kicking us. Let's get right to this video, guys.
So I wanted to talk with you about, again, the 1350. So earlier I did chime in when you were talking with Jackson. You said 2020 with the George Floyd protests that nobody was talking about the nuclear family, which I think that they're separate issues.
Okay, but that's fine. But can you first acknowledge that no one was talking about the nuclear family?
Yeah, 100%.
Okay, great. Why do you think that no one ever talks about the nuclear family at all publicly?
Maybe a lack of importance. And I mean, obviously, it's very important that, you know, you have a father and a mother growing up. That's very crucial to childhood.
We agree.
Yes. But to get to my point, in 2020 with the George Floyd protests...
Riots.
Riots or protests, depends.
Were they riots or protests?
All right, well, we disagree on that, but to get to my point...
Sure.
To get to my point...
Were they mostly peaceful?
I believe so, yes.
Please let Andrew talk. Let Andrew talk. It takes a lot of courage to come up. I'm going to defend you. Please
No, it's
continue.
okay. People can disagree, but I just like to get my point off. So I think police brutality and the nuclear family are two separate issues, okay? So I think that there's over-policing in black neighborhoods. Would you agree?
Not even close. Under-policing, actually. And don't take my word for it. Again, like half of all murders in Chicago aren't even solved. That's bad, right?
Okay, but that's Chicago, okay?
Well, but again, about only 60% in Baltimore are solved. It's across the country. But Chicago is America's third largest city, New York, LA, Chicago. Let's just pause right here. In order to solve murders, you need detectives, which are police officers. So we should agree that if you commit a murder, we should find out who it is, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So half of all murders are not solved. You can fact check me on this. Chicago murder solve rate 50%. You guys can all fact check me on this. So should we need more police then?
I never said I disagree about defunding the police.
No, but you said over-policed. I don't think we have enough. So show me an example. Show me a city where we have too many police and be specific.
Well, I can't come up with any specific example.
Well, but you said that we're over-policed. You got to give me some specifics. It can't be an abstraction. You got to tell me the city in America that is over-policed, because I'd be interested to know about that city.
Well, like I said, I don't have any specific examples, but I'm going to pivot.
Because it doesn't exist, though.
I'm going to pivot really quick, if that's okay.
Before you pivot, I just want to teach you something, Andrew. It's easy to say that you're over-policed. You got to back up the data. There's no incident in the country of any city that's over-policed. It does not exist. We have a police staffing shortage in this country. We don't have enough police, but please pivot.
Okay, so to get back, well, really to get back to my point, I think police brutality and the culture, black culture, is two separate things. I think police officers kneeling on someone's neck for 9 minutes is a completely separate incident.
What was George Floyd's cause of death?
Asphyxiation.
Actually, the original medical report by the Hennepin County Examiner said that it was a drug overdose. Did you know that?
But that was hired by the state. An independent coroner reported that it was asphyxiation.
It's interesting. You might be right, but if you guys love truth, you should go and dive into the Derek Chauvin court documents. There's a lot more to the George Floyd situation than anyone ever told you. It really is, and it's a great video. And I'm not even, you might be right. But there's so much more to that circumstance of George Floyd that was overdosing on drugs, right? That also, did you know that what Derek Chauvin did to George Floyd was actually in the police manual training? It was completely justified and was trained by his superiors to do. Now, let me ask you a question. How many unarmed black people, on average, are killed by police a year?
Well, I'd have to look up that statistic.
Guess.
Probably over 50%.
Yeah, it's 15 people a year. 15. And that's not my number. That's the Washington Post that came up with it and did a national crime survey. And they even were generous and they said unarmed, meaning you had a weapon nearby or you had a knife that you dropped. So you're talking about police brutality for an incident that happens 15 times a year in a country of 350 million people.
Well, how
Charlie,
come?
I've shot him
My
up.
question to you then: how come you see it so often on
You don't.
social
Because
media?
that's a good question, Andrew, because you're being propagandized. You're
Straight.
being brainwashed is the name of this tour. And I'm here to tell you that you see it, so you actually don't see it as often as you think. This is emotional targeted videoing to have you think that something exists when it doesn't. We look at the data like, oh, it's 15 times a year. 15 times a year, and it's even lower than that. But do you know what does happen a lot every single year? Is that there's over 100,000 drug overdoses every single year. We don't talk about that. We don't.
should.
You know, we should. I totally agree, right? But yet we have this whole thing about police brutality, and no one can ever give me examples where there's too many police, and that's okay. I'm not just picking on you. Just in general, it's easy to get caught up in the abstractions. It's easy to get caught up in the parade and in all the bedlam. But when you dive into it, you realize that it's all brainwashing and it's propaganda.
I guess what I would say in response to that is, when you do your own independent research, you can find data to skew in any direction you want it to.
But it's the Washington Post. I'm not just making this stuff up. This is the left. I'm using left-wing sources here. This is not Breitbart.com or Gateway Pundit or the Charlie Kirk Show or the Daily Wire, right? This is the left-wing sources, and I'm not cherry picking because you said police brutality. So then I pinpoint, okay, how many black people are then killed unarmed by police every year? Boom, that's the number. In a population, by the way, where there's tens of millions of black Americans, it's an insignificant sum. And you know that more kids are killed in urban violence going to school or walking to the playground than blacks are killed by police? Yet we don't talk about that as much. The question then is why? Is that, this is my belief, is that black America is so abused by the current mainstream media, it's abused by the Democrat Party, and they don't want black Americans to think freely or independently, that they have been used as pawns by the Democrat Party for the last 60 years. That's exactly what is happening right now, and I pray people are starting to wake up.
Yeah.
A final thought, Andrew?
I guess I don't really have anything.
That's okay. I encourage you to do this. Fact check me later. Find out what the unsolved murder rate is in Chicago. See if Charlie Kirk was right. Look at the Washington Post crime database and find out, was it really 15 unarmed blacks that were killed by police year by year? Sometimes as low as 8, sometimes it's 20, so the average is about 15, okay? Go and look at The Biggest Lie Ever Told, the George Floyd documentary. Go look at the original Hennepin County medical. Don't just take my word for it. Do that research. And in that research, if you're like, oh, dang, I was lied, use that as what we call taking the red pill. And you'll see how deep this rabbit hole goes.
100%.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Can I shake your hand?
Yeah, God bless, man. Thank you. Thank you, Andrew. Give it up for Andrew. That's not easy to do.
I love this man. Like, Charlie is very, very knowledgeable. That's something I know very respect about him. Like, he just don't come here to say, wait, without having any backing or facts. And you can't come up to Charlie without having your own facts or having backing of your own research. Like, it's crazy how this the students came up here without having any backing of his research. They have done a research to come to speak to Charlie concerning CRT. I love how Charlie handled the students, and at the ending, he tell him that you should go fact check me. That's something I respect about this man. Like, if he's lying, fact check it, and you see that he's not lying. You see, the funny thing is that the Democrats have been using the black people for over 60 years. It's funny how they are still not seeing it. Because it's obvious So whenever you see a video online, like police brutality, you see a video online is trending, dig deep. Don't just check to the surface. Don't see the surface and dig deep. Know exactly what really happened before you come to a conclusion that this is exactly what's happened. Because people talk about all this police brutality, and I'm not saying it does not happen. Like there are racist police. It's possible that KKK happened. That's people who were in KKK. And those people were actually against black people. Do you understand? So if you tell me that there are racist police, it's possible that there are racist police. There are white people. Yeah. There are also racist police that are black people. Do you know that it's possible too? It's true. Because not just the white people that are racist, some black people are also racist too. Do you understand? But black people feel like they can never be racist towards the whites. I don't know why they feel like that. I don't know what is in their head, the full definition of racism is. It's crazy. Because seeing this student right here, I'm very, very happy that he was respectful. There is something I appreciate about him throughout this entire conversation. He was very respectful and he did not abuse Charlie. And Charlie was also respectful. Charlie just wanted to give him clarity because what the student right here was lacking was actually clarity. And Charlie gave it to him and told him to go fact check him. It's funny how the media has actually brainwashed a lot of people. Like a lot of people, the media have really brainwashed a lot of people. That's why you have to be very, very mindful of where you're getting your information from, your news channel from. You understand? It's very, very important. You have to be very, very mindful of what you are feeding your head. The media you are listening to, what you actually feed yourself, your head with. Because a lot of them are that propaganda or that agenda is to brainwash you. Exactly. And Charlie's show is all about you are being brainwashed. And it's trying to bring clarity. I really, really do respect this man. Charlie is really doing an amazing work. I love his entire video. He made me actually want to dive deep into politics and know more about what's really happening in America. I've literally turned my entire channel about politics. I was first doing music. I react to music videos. If you check my channel from start, I actually react to music videos. That's exactly what I do. But ever since I found Charlie, he gave me the open-mindedness to want to dig deep into politics, into what's really happening in America. And ever since I've been doing that, I've never regretted it. You understand? So this is really, really beautiful that Charlie is bringing an eye open, making everyone's eyes to be open about what is really happening in the society that we are all living in. They are under policing, not over policing. So it's really, really important. I love how Charlie handled the students, and the entire conversation was actually respectful and beautiful. Comment up below, think about this video, give us a thumbs up, share this video to as many as you can, subscribe to our channel, guys, know how to do it. We'll see you guys in the next video. Make sure you stay safe.